Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Uverse TV. There's some high clouds floating overhead at Comerica Park, but that is not dampening the outlook for the Rangers. They are on a roll. They're looking to take 3 out of 4 here in Motown against the Detroit Tigers. And welcome in, everyone, along with Mark McLemore, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon, Ranger baseball. And the Rangers, one of the hottest teams going in all of Major League Baseball. And, Mac, they have climbed most of the mountain in that wild card race in the last few days, it seems like.
They really have, Buzz. And, it's been fun to watch this team go about their business each and every day, methodically going through the teams that were ahead of them in the wild card race and just taking over. Every time they've played one of these teams, they've just won the series or swept them. So they've done a tremendous job moving in and taking hold of that second wild card in the American League West. And that's what they've got to continue to do. Their real sight is really to win the division. But right now, they're sitting in a pretty good spot, number 2 in the American League wild card standings.
Now, the Rangers, to a man, will tell you they're focused on winning each and every ball game that they play. And that's how you have to do it with 40 games left in this 2015 season. They will send their newly acquired left-hander, Cole Hamels, to the mound here this afternoon to see if they can't get a series win against the Detroit Tigers. We'll come back with more from Comerica Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The best deals are happening now only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T Uverse TV. Uverse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Now, a large crowd filing into Comerica Park for this Sunday afternoon of a Rangers-Tigers baseball. We'll come back with the starting lineups in the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.
Tiger Stadium, believe it or not. Most of it has been torn down, but there's the original home plate. Ty Cobb and Mickey Mantle and Kirk Gibson banged their bats on that plate. There's the flagpole that was in play in center field. Other than that, it doesn't look like Tiger Stadium. The Police Athletic League in Detroit plans to build headquarters here and keep the field intact so that kids can continue to play on this great field. Buzz and Mac, back to you guys.
All right, John, thanks very much. Yeah, a great sight downtown Detroit, and I guess kind of gone the way that most things go, into the wind, into the past, and a lot of good memories for folks watching Tigers and old Tiger Stadium. Matt's going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers batting order.
All right, leading off for the Rangers, Delino DeShields. He leads the American League in butt hits with 10. He'll be in center field. Adrian Beltre is going to bat third. He'll become the all-time leading Dominican player in games played today with 2,558. He'll play third base. Rougned Odor hit his career-high 10th home run last night. He'll bat sixth and play second base. And Hanser Alberto, he'll get his first start since being recalled on the 22nd. He'll be playing shortstop and batting ninth.
And that lineup put forth by Jeff Bannister will face the 24-year-old left-hander Matt Boyd. The Rangers remember Matt Boyd from his time with the Toronto Blue Jays. Boyd, a basic four-pitch pitcher, primarily fastball, curveball. And the Rangers saw him once in his major league debut, as a matter of fact. They were able to get 4 runs off Boyd in a little more than 6 innings that time. So at least they have an idea of what to expect from the left-hander. Delino DeShields stepping in, starting things off, and the first pitch is high for ball 1. DeShields at .259 average, 1 home run, 25 driven in. He's leading this Ranger ball club that has won 8 of their last 10 ball games and 14 of their last 19. And Boyd pumps in a strike. Rangers also 17-6 in just about the last month of play since the All-Star break. They are 21-13. That's the second best record to Toronto in the American League. Delino trying to bunt and got a curveball, and he bunted it straight down foul. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that's a good try for Delino. I like when he starts the game off. Anytime he puts the ball down for a bunt, whether he's going to third or first, hey, he's got a chance to get on.
Yeah, when you have the Tiger first base today, it's Victor Martinez, but either he or Cabrera, they don't cover a lot of ground, so you have that basically a one-man right side of the infield for the Tigers if you can get the ball down over there.
You really do. And, one of the things, you do with guys like that, like a Victor Martinez or Miguel Cabrera, that don't really move around a lot at first base, you want to bunt the ball to them and make them go get it. Because once that first baseman leaves first base, especially with a left-hander on the mound, you have no play at first base, none whatsoever.
Next pitch to Delino is a bit low. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes now. So DeShields trying to begin things by getting aboard here in the Ranger first. Shin-Soo Choo, the right fielder, will follow in the order.
Well, one thing that DeShields has already done is he's taken Boyd to 6 pitches in just this first at bat, and that's what you want to do as a leadoff hitter.
Got him swinging. Boyd came back, a pretty good tailing fastball. DeShields is gone. 1 away for Shin-Soo Choo. Take a look at the Tiger defense behind Matt Boyd here this afternoon. Mentioned Victor Martinez getting the start at first. He's joined by Kinsler and Iglesias up the middle. Castellanos at third. J.D. Martinez, 14 outfield assists this year. He had just 1 outfield assist all of 2014. He's joined by Rajai Davis in center field. Tyler Collins in left for the Tigers. Shin-Soo Choo stepping in, hitting at 243. Takes ball 1. Choo with 15 home runs, 54 driven in. Two and 0. Choo in the other matchup against Matt Boyd didn't have much success against the left-hander. Now Boyd back to the plate. And he misses inside. 3 balls, no strikes. So Choo trying to get aboard with 1 out. Adrian Beltre, the Ranger third baseman, will follow Choo. Rangers, as we've been talking about, into that second wild card spot, a half game better than the Los Angeles Angels. And they still have their eyes at the top spot in the AL West. Houston playing good baseball now. They have beaten the Dodgers the last 2 nights, once by a no-hitter. That's outside. Choo draws the walk. Well, free pass puts Choo at first. Adrian Beltre coming up.
Choo's done a tremendous job of getting on base. It's his 28th game since the All-Star break. Getting on base, either a hit by a pitch, any way he can, he's been getting on base. So I love him in that 2 spot.
Adrian moving up today. Prince Fielder, the afternoon off, at least to start things. Prince in a little bit of an offensive downturn for the last couple of weeks. So Jeff Bannister using this opportunity to get Prince off the field for a day, and then again a day tomorrow because the Rangers have an off day. Same thing with Elvis Andrus. Those are the 2 top Rangers as far as games played this year. Beltre takes inside. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Adrian, a 267, had a 3-hit game yesterday. Last 11 ball games, as you can see, a 372 average. And Mac told you that Adrian Beltre, by being in today's game, now the all-time leader in games played for a native of the Dominican Republic. Passes Julio Franco. And Adrian, there's that graphically for you. But Adrian, when didn't really know that this was coming up, and he was told about that. He said, Julio Franco, he was like, what, 50 when he finished? Said,
yeah.
I'm not that quite that old, but
You're not far. He was close to 50.
Yeah, he was 49, I think.
Yeah.
The last game he played for the Braves. And can
Incredible.
still hit.
Incredible. He could probably still hit today.
Well, he was over, I think it was Japan or Taiwan. Anyway, he was over in the Far East as a player coach for a while.
Wow.
Beltre takes a tailing fastball for a strike. That evens the count at 2-2.
You know, Buzz, we were talking a little while ago about Beltre, and you know, all the all-time list that he's been moving up on this year. You know, at the beginning of the year, I just didn't think, you know, any of those. They just never came to mind, especially the all-time leader in games played from a Dominican-born player. I mean, there have been so many great Dominican players in the game, and Beltre is obviously one of those. But to move up on the all-time games list played, that's another incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, and you don't think of Adrian as being a guy that would be having career numbers like that now because he doesn't seem like he's that old. That he's been playing that old. He really doesn't.
No,
at least
he
to
doesn't.
me.
Not at all. You know, you just gotten used to hearing his name over the years, but no, it really doesn't seem like that long ago.
Got him swinging. Boyd going up the ladder, and Adrian not able to get on top of it. 2-away. Now Boyd, a couple of strikeouts here in the first. Chu still at first base. And Mitch Moreland will step to the plate. Mitch was 1 for 3 with a home run against Matt Boyd in their matchup in Toronto. Mitch had a home run against him. Rougned Odor had a home run against him. Robinson Chirinos had a home run against Boyd. And Mitch takes a breaking ball for strike 1 here. Moreland just 2 for his last 19 times to the plate. That covers the last 5 ball games. But go back a little bit further. In the month of August, Mitch has been a .303 hitter. 1-1. Mitch, part of the reason the Rangers offense has really been resurgent going back to the All-Star break. Mitch really for the entire month of July and here into August. Really a big part of that core. He and Beltre and Fielder in the middle of that lineup. Chu in the 2 spot. 1-2 now. And that's been the big reason this Ranger ball club has been consistent. They are among the league leaders since the All-Star break in hitting. They are second in average, having hit .276. They're also second in on-base percentage and runs scored. And they're third in average runs per game at 5.12.
That'll get you moving up some standings, Juan.
That will.
Pretty quick.
That will. And the Rangers have, and they know they need to keep it going. They're in a position now where they need to step on some people. The Tigers today, and really get on their throats and don't give them any quarter. You want to win as many ball games as possible, and this is the time of year where you've got to play a little bit nasty, have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, and really make people that aren't playing very well suffer for it.
You really do. You can't afford to take that pedal off the metal. You've got to keep going when you've got an opportunity. You've got to take advantage of it. And years ago, before the wild card and the second wild card, the pennant race typically, maybe the last 3 weeks of the season, that's when guys would sort of hit the switch.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the second wild card in there, or both wild cards in there, that I think the stretch drive has just been extended. I really do. You look at the Rangers and where they were just a couple of weeks ago, 5-6 out, and here they are now with a half-game lead.
Right.
You've got to play a lot of teams. There are a lot of teams that are still in contention. There's teams behind the Rangers that are within 4 or 5 games. So we know and we've seen that a lead like that can disappear rather quickly.
Boyd knocks down that check swing roller and fires to first. That'll do it. Rangers get a walk, but Strand chews. We played a half inning at Comerica Park. It's the Rangers nothing. The Tigers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. like that Cole's going to face today.
All right, leading off for the Tigers will be Rajai Davis in center field. Ian Kinsler's going to play second. He's hitting .478 with 6 RBI over the last 6 games. J.D. Martinez is going to be in right field. He leads the AL in outfield assists with 14. Jose Iglesias is the shortstop. He'll bat 8th. He's 7th in the AL versus left-handers, hitting .347. And Tyler Collins will be in left, batting 9th, and he's hit 6 of his last 8 games at a .300 clip.
And that lineup is going to face the 31-year-old left-hander Cole Hamels, our progressive scouting report. I'll tell you that Cole still adjusting to the American League game a bit, but things are going to fall into place for him if he goes out and just manages to pitch his game, and that being the kind of fastball command that he is used to having, mixing the breaking ball, etc. Rajai Davis, first ball swinging, will sky to center field, and that's one way to get it done on one pitch. Davis out. And we'll take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense, delivered to you by Chicken Express. Ranger defense much better this second half of the season. Got Hanser Alberto making his 3rd start this year at shortstop, and he was the leading shortstop in the Pacific Coast League. Strasburger, DeShields, and Chu left, center, and right. Moreland and Odor on the right side of the infield. Beltre joins Alberto, and Chris Jimenez is catching. So 1 pitch, 1 away for Cole Hamels. Here's Ian Kinsler. And Ian takes a knee-high strike. Kid's hitting at .305, and he has been on a tear since the first part of July. 2 for 3 in his career against Cole Hamels. 1-1.
Kins could be a spark plug when he gets, when his swing is where it's supposed to be and not hitting a lot of fly balls. And he's been doing a tremendous job for this Tigers ball club, getting on base, driving runs in. The long ball really hasn't been there like it has been in the past when he was with the Rangers. But he's getting on base and driving runs in when they're out there.
Yeah. He had a 3-run home run last night in the 9th inning against Sean Tolleson, accounting for all the Tiger runs. So he still has that capability. Gets fisted, loops one into right. That is down for a base hit. Kinsler going to put the brakes on as Q gets to the ball and gets it back in. Oh, Kinsler, a little jam shot base hit. Ian, who had a multi-hit game last night, is 48th of the year, and that's tops in the American League.
Well, this looks like a line drive in the paper tomorrow, and Kinsler's doing his job getting on base. Cole jammed him a little bit. Kins was able to dump it into right field for a single.
Yeah, it may look like that in the paper tomorrow, but on my scorebook, it's not going to look like that for a while. I get a little mark down there.
Of course.
Jam shot.
Of course. I'd expect that, Buzz. I would.
I got to keep things fresh and keep it in my mind. Well, here is Miguel Cabrera. The Rangers have not had an answer for this big guy. He has just torn things apart. He's 7 out of 10 in this series. A 7-game hitting streak that's seen him hit .556. Also hitting .365 for the entire year. 6 for 8 against Cole Hamels. So this a problematic matchup, to say the least. Base hit to right. Kinsler is not stopping a second. He's going to make Chu throw. The throw is high. It's over everybody. And that will go into the dugout. Out of play. Kinsler will score. And the Tigers take an early 1-0 lead as Shin-Soo Choo let loose with a bomb of a throw to third and cleared everyone.
Well, there might have been a play at third base, but that one sailed on Chu. You got to keep that ball down, at least hit the cutoff man to keep Miguel Cabrera from going to second on the throw. Chu gets to it in great time. Looked like he had Kinsler was going to be out at third base, but overthrew, and Cole Hamels was late getting over there to back up. Otherwise, he probably catches that ball in the air, but he wasn't in the right position. That's going to cost him a run early.
Yeah, the only one that had a play on that was Omar Vizquel, and he wasn't going to do it. So it's going to be a single, an RBI, and now Brad Ausmus is coming out to suggest to the umpires that they review where Cabrera was when that throw was uncorked. And apparently the umpire is satisfied with his placement at second base, saying that it was thrown before he got to first base. You get 2 bases from the spot where you are when the throw is made. Is that correct?
I believe it is correct. And Miguel Cabrera is not a very fast runner, so he wasn't going to be around first base by the time Chu got rid of that ball.
In any event, Tigers leading 1-0 as Victor Martinez comes up and takes ball one. Again, Miguel Cabrera credited with a base hit. No RBI as the run scores on the Shin-Soo Choo throwing error. Victor Martinez, 246, but batting from the right side, about 150 points higher than he is as a left-handed hitter. Swings through that pitch from Hamels. It is 1-1. Martinez is a left-handed batter, hitting .210 this year. As a right-handed hitter, .368. And overall, he has hit very well in his last couple of weeks of play. 7 out of his last 8 ball games, he has hit better than .500.
Victor Martinez traditionally has been a very good hitter with runners in scoring position, and that ability is always in there. He's probably he's having a down year this year, but he's still a dangerous hitter.
And Cole Hamels pulling the string. The ball at 2 strikes. Yeah, it looks like Victor Martinez now, as compared to a couple of years ago, doesn't use the entire field on every pitch as well. He has to pretty much give one half of the field away or the other. Used to be, it didn't matter. He was going to take the ball wherever it was on any pitch.
Yeah, a lot like Cabrera.
Right. In the air to shallow right field. Long run in for Chu toward the line, and that ball drops just in foul territory. Victor Martinez coming within maybe a couple of feet of dropping that on the chalk. He'll come back to home plate. It'll still be a 1-2 count.
Ball tailing away from the line. Whew. Doesn't get much closer than that.
Yeah, it's a couple of feet. I might readjust that to a couple of inches. Wow.
Rangers catch a break there.
Well, Martinez back in. Victor's 3 out of 11 in this series. He was 1 for 4 last night, handled the DH chores. Got Miguel Cabrera at second, 1 away here in the bottom of the first inning. Cole Hamels out of San Diego. Phillies draft choice. The Phillies have been the only team, only organization that Cole had been with his entire career. Cole coming over at the trade deadline along with Jake Diekman. Hamels, that shoulder high set. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hamels this year with the Phillies went 6-7 with a .364 ERA in 20 ball games. With the Rangers, this would be his 4th start. Of course, his first one against the Giants in a Ranger uniform came after that no-hitter in his last start as a Philly against the Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field. And the changeup floats outside. It's 3-2. So Martinez has run the count full. The other Martinez, JD, is waiting in the on-deck circle. Cabrera with the lead from second. The payoff pitch hit high in the air. Rougned Odor coming in now right at the rim of the outfield grass, makes the grab. That is out number 2. Well, Victor Martinez pops out. Now J.D. Martinez.
Cole made a great pitch to Victor Martinez, got him out front with an off-speed pitch. Got him to pop it up to the infield. See him down in the zone. Pretty good pitch to get him off balance.
That's one thing we were told about Cole Hamels, is that changeup is such a weapon because he does not hesitate to throw it in any count. Has that kind of command of it. Ripped foul by J.D. Martinez, who got that changeup on the first pitch. And even though it stayed up in the strike zone, J.D. still out in front of it far enough to pull it foul.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, Buzz. When a pitcher is able to throw his secondary pitches for strikes at any time in the count. You can't sit on one pitch, and Cole Hamels has been very good historically at doing that. You know, 3-2 pitch, a breaking ball to Victor Martinez gets him to pop up. Typically, that's probably a fastball count. So being able to throw those secondary pitches for strikes at any count in the at bat, it definitely puts a hitter at a disadvantage.
0-2 now. The count to J.D. Martinez, who, as you saw, is hitting .287. Into the hole, diving stop by Elvis. He scrambles up and throws wide. Moreland comes off the bag to make the catch, but Elvis saving a run probably by making that diving stop.
We're so used to Elvis.
Alberto, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're so used to Elvis being out there every day. Yeah. It's kind of strange. But Hanser Alberto gets the start it short. He goes deep in the hole on this ball by J.D. Martinez and makes a great play to save a run for now.
Hanser, I apologize.
Probably had a better shot at Cabrera going to third than going across the diamond to first base, but still it saves a run for now, and that's really what you want.
Well, that's the third base hit of the inning. So runners at the corners. Nick Castellanos, a .248 hitter, steps in. Castellanos has been hot lately, driving in runs at a pretty good clip. He takes low for ball one. Castellanos 4 out of 10 in this series. He has 9 runs driven in his last 5 ball games. Another Tiger that's up there at the 60 RBI level. They have 2 above that, and they also have 2 right at 59. That would be Kinsler and Cabrera. 1 ball and 1 strike. Castellanos, 13 home runs to go along with his 60 RBI. That 5-game hitting streak, you can see a .474 mark. On the inside corner, 1-2. I guess along with being gutsy, as Cole Hamels is, you'd also say he's crafty. Knows exactly what he wants to do with all of his pitches at all times. 1-2 offering. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Cole forced to work a little bit here in the first inning. His next pitch will be his 23rd. Castellanos stepping back in. He's got Miguel Cabrera at third. J.D. Martinez at first base. A run across for Detroit in this first inning. Got him swinging. Cutter down and in, and Hamels gets the strikeout. That'll do it for the Tigers. They get a run on 3 hits, an error, and strand 2. After 1, Detroit 1, Texas nothing. plan for the 2015 season. 20-game plans come with great benefits like a chance to purchase 2015 postseason strips and savings off of gate prices and a lot more. Just visit TexasRangers.com/20-game plans to get yours today. Don't wait, because Tuesday, August 25th, is the last chance you have to buy them. Mike Napoli to step in to start things out. Nap, the DH here this afternoon, facing Matt Boyd. And the left-hander gets a check swing foul off of Napoli. Mike, as a Ranger, hitting .278. 1 home run and 2 RBI. Overall numbers at .210 with 14 home runs and 42 driven in. Napoli coming over from the Boston Red Sox on the 7th of the month. Cash considerations, the Rangers sending Boston. Knapp, of course, very, very good against left-handed pitching in particular, but also gives the Rangers opportunity to spell Mitch Moreland at first base, and whenever Jeff Bannister decides that is warranted. Knapp also one of those guys that going down the stretch you love to have on your side, because he has that edge to him about how he goes about his business every day, about getting people down and stepping on them and keeping your stuff going. To left field, and a fair ball toward the corner. Napoli at first will put the brakes on as Collins gets the ball back in, and Mike Napoli a leadoff single for the Rangers in the second inning.
Well, Knapp continuing to swing the bat well. His last couple or 3 games, he's had multi-hit games in those, and I think the more at bats, the more repetitions he gets up there at the plate, I think the better he's going to become. Obviously, it's very difficult to play sporadically and be very effective, but Napoli's a veteran player. That's why the Rangers got him, and he does this very well against left-handers.
That he does. Well, the first Ranger hit is on the scoreboard this afternoon. Napoli at first, nobody out. Rougned Odor, a .277 average, steps in against Boyd. Breaking ball hangs high and tight to him. Rougned last night smoked a home run in that 9th inning. He hit it 3/4 of the way up the bleachers in right field. That ball shot out of here in no time. And he does have a home run to his credit against Matt Boyd.
He's got a lot of room out there in right center field to play around with.
He's going to need to get a new piece of wood, I think, before that next pitch comes. Now, our AT&T Universe Rewind, we will take you back to last night. Looked at Odor, didn't even bother to watch it very long. Said, I know I got that one. That is over everything out there in right field. Home run number 10 for the Rangers second baseman. That's 10 in 85 ball games. Pops this one up. Foul ground. Castellanos through the coach's box. Makes the catch. That is out number 1. So Boyd doing a pretty good job of keeping Rougned Odor off balance in that at bat.
Yeah, he does a nice job staying away from Rugi. He knows he's got that power, and I'm sure he remembers the home run that Rugi hit off of him before.
So 1 away. Napoli still at first. Ryan Strasburger now will step in. Ryan hitting at .250, a home run and 2 RBI. Ball 1. Strasburger getting his second consecutive start. As we mentioned, Rangers in a streak now of facing 4 consecutive left-handed starters. Randy Wolf last night, of course, Matt Boyd here this afternoon. So Strasburger figuring to get playing time pretty consistently here for the next few days. And the Rangers come home, and after an off day tomorrow, they'll take on Mark Burley on Tuesday, and then David Price on Wednesday. It's no day at the beach, but they are left-handed.
Yeah, this is a really good time for Strasburger to take a look down there at third base and see Castellanos, how far back behind the bag he is, and he's got plenty of room to drop a bunt.
Yeah, you saw Castellanos, but he hit a ground ball to it. 5-4-3 around the horn goes the double play, and that takes care of the Rangers. No runs a hit, nobody left after 1.5 now. It's the Tigers 1, the Rangers nothing. photo. Just use hashtag Southwest Data StrongFan, and you just might see yourself in one of our upcoming broadcasts. This is all brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile, and we will have today's selection a little bit later on for you. Your strongest fan photo. Cole Hamels back out to the mound. Gave up a run on 3 hits and an error in the first inning. It was an earned run, by the way. And bottom third of the order for the Tigers, starting with James McCann to face Hamels here in the second. McCann, a .267 hitter with 5 home runs and 26 driven in. Rookie catcher pretty much supplanting Alex Avila as the everyday catcher for the Tigers. 1 ball, 1 strike. McCann at the moment, though, in the middle of an 0 for 11 streak. He has had very good success, however, this year against left-handed pitching. He's batting .333 against southpaws. Takes that pitch a bit low. It's 2-1. Hamels into the wind. Broken bat, that bat going straight back to the screen, and Alberto throws out McCann. Boy, got bats and balls and all kinds of objects flying around Comerica Park the last few days. That reminds me, I want to pass along the lady that was hit by that foul ball here on Friday night was released from the hospital yesterday, and apparently she's going to be just fine. And boy, a big load off everybody's mind. I know all the players were very concerned about it, and all of you that at home that were watching that along with us very concerned, and fortunately she's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's a scary thing when anytime you see that happen and being that close to the playing field. There's just very little reaction time to do anything about it. Sometimes you can't even get your hands up to defend yourself a little bit. So it's good to hear she's going to be okay.
Jose Iglesias now steps in. Iglesias a .306 average as he takes a ball. It's 1-1. Iglesias, the number 8 hitter, the young shortstop with a couple of home runs, 21 driven in. And he takes that changeup low. 2 balls and a strike. Iglesias just 2 out of 11 in this series. But another guy that against left-handed pitching for the Tigers this year has been deadly. He's a .347 hitter. 3-1 now. So Iglesias with 1 out trying to get aboard. Tyler Collins, the left fielder, and number 9 hitter will follow. Change up outside, ball 4. Iglesias wasn't sure. He had to wait until the call was made by home plate umpire Adam Hamari, and okay, I'll go to first. First walk issued by Cole Hamels. 1 on, 1 out for Collins. Against left-handers, I would say the Tigers are pretty doggone good. Second in the American League in average, right behind Toronto. Rangers, of course, moving up that list, but they had a long way to go because they were second to last in the first half of the season. There goes Iglesias. The pitch is poked foul by Tyler Collins. Hit and run on, and Collins doing his best to put the ball in play, fouls it away. Iglesias back to first. It's 0-1.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Alberto and Odor communicate out there. They played together at AAA before, but playing at the big league level, it's a little bit different. You see a hit and run on there. You've got the shortstop covering. Probably should have been Odor there. And when you're in the middle of that infield, you've got to try and think along with the manager. And for the two of them, they're young players, basically rookies. It's a little tough to think along with them. So sometimes you've got to switch coverage. And what I mean by that, typically you've got the off guy that's going to cover on a hit and run. And on that particular play, the Tigers are looking to be aggressive early in the ball game. They've got a 1-run lead. You might want to switch up the coverage every now and then.
0-2 pitch from Hamels. Pulled to the right side, that finds its way through to right, a base hit. Stopping at second is Jose Iglesias. Just a little seeing eye roller off the bat of Tyler Collins, finds right field for the hit. And the Tigers have 2 aboard with 1 out, and the top of the order coming up again.
Collins got out in front of that and hooked it over there in the corner or in the hole. Odor looked like he might have been able to make a play on it. But that was a seeing eye ground ball. Got right by him.
Well, that's a case, Mac, where having to play up at double play depth cut down your range just enough that Odor couldn't get to it.
Yeah, it does. And typically when you're playing at double play depth, what you want to do is you want to come in. But if you've got that quick first step, first couple of steps going left or right, it doesn't matter, with the ankle. You can cut it off if you're up that close. And sometimes you just have to give up a little bit of ground one way or the other in order to make that play.
Kind of favor your offside a little bit?
Yeah, and, I like to do that because I always knew I could get to the bag on a ground ball, to still turn a double play. And that's what you've got to look at. You can come in, as much as you want. You just have to be able to get back to the bag in case the ball gets hit to the left side of the infield.
Right.
And you can turn that double play. So you can take away that hole, easily just by coming up and over just a little bit.
Rajai Davis, towering fly ball into the gap in left center. Center fielder Delino DeShields calls off Strasburger, makes the catch. That is out number 2, and it will bring up Ian Kinsler.
Great communication out there in the outfield this time.
Now, you may remember on the last homestand that Delino and Ryan Strasburger had a couple of miscommunications, but they got that ironed out. It's been the last, 3 games together, I guess,
right.
Now that we've noticed a lot of talking between them and no miscommunication at all.
Right, and a lot of it is just common sense. You've got 2 center fielders basically, and the 2 of them out there. And on that play there, you've got a runner at second base that could tag up or potentially tag up and go to third base. So you want that center fielder who's coming that way to make that catch and throw. And Strasburger saw Delino coming over. Strasburger was there, could have made the play, but it was an easier play for Delino to make.
Now 2 outs. Now Ian Kinsler will come up for his second at bat. Kinsler dumped a base hit into the right field near the right field line. His first time, got jammed by Hamels. But anytime you see a guy hitting over 300, he's going to have a few of those every now and then. 0-1 as Hamels gets that inside corner. Kinsler didn't think so. Ian, his 8th home run of the year last night. He has 59 RBI. So a guy that, given the opportunity, is a pretty good run producer. He's also second in runs scored. Gets fisted again. A little pop up to Mitch Moreland. That is going to do it. And again, a jam shot from Kinsler. This one resulting in an out. No runs to hit. 2 men are left. After 2, Tigers leading the Rangers by 1. Ages 14 and older will get a Giovanni Gallardo powder blue t-shirt. That's thanks to Dr. Pepper, Albertsons, and Tom Thumb. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets. It's a big series coming up with Toronto coming in and Baltimore to follow. A big homestand. A lot of good seats left for those ball games. Make sure and get yours and come on out and support the Rangers. Chris Jimenez, Ranger catcher, starting things off. Takes high and outside at 1 ball and 1 strike. Chris, a .250 average with 2 home runs and 8 RBI. And the home runs, as you can see, Scott Kazmir, and pretty good company for Chris Jimenez. Kazmir and Chris Archer, the 2 outstanding pitchers that Jimenez is homered off of. 1-2. Matt Boyd back to the plate. That ball's hit well to left center field. Going back is Collins at the track, at the wall. Goodbye. Add one more to that. Matt Boyd to that list as Chris Jimenez cranks his 3rd home run of the year, and we have a brand new ball game. We are tied at 1.
Wow, Jimenez jumped all over that fastball up in the zone. Didn't miss it. And it's a great call there, Buzz. Great call. Couple of homers against 2 pretty good pitchers, and he adds Boyd to the list. Boyd trying to go away with it. Ball ran back out over the middle of the plate. Jimenez just didn't miss it, and that's a pretty good poke to get one out of here in left center field.
Well, Jimenez with his 3rd home run. Rangers now with 128 for the year. Even in this spacious ballpark, that sound is still not a pretty one to hear for me.
You know what really gets me, though? You look how far he hit that ball, and before they brought the fences in.
Yeah, it's a fly ball.
It's a fly ball. That's a fly ball. Left fielder's going to be playing back a little bit deeper, and he probably runs underneath that ball.
That's a fly ball that comes down 25 feet shy of the original wall.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised anybody hit home runs out there. You could tee up a golf ball and have trouble some days getting that thing into the seats. Hanser Alberto pops one up. His counterpart, Jose Iglesias, the shortstop, takes care of it. That is out number 1. And before we go back to the top of the Ranger order, let's send it back to Aaron Hardigan for a Mazda game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Well, that's another one of those races, very, very tight. And you get the Yankees and Toronto. You get the Rangers and the Astros. 4 teams that going back and forth a little bit. Delino checks his swing on a pitch low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. I have a feeling that September this year is going to be something special for a lot of folks. Got a lot of people in contention, and it's going to be a fun last month of the season.
It really is. There's so many teams that are right there in that wild card hunt and division hunt, within their own divisions. You look at the Yankees and Baltimore and Toronto, not just for the wild card, but for the division lead. And if whoever doesn't win that division is definitely in the wild card hunt. Same thing with the AL West. Got the Astros, Rangers, of course. And the Angels are right there as well. So it's going to be a fun time. This pennant drive or pennant race just gets extended, seems like, every year.
Liner to Shields hits one pretty deep to left field, but Collins with room this time near the warning track. 2 gone. Next to be Shin-Soo Choo. Yeah, in comparison to the National League, it's pretty much cut and dried right now. You have the 3 division leaders, and then you have the Cubs and the Pirates. They're 5 games ahead of the next closest pursuer in that wild card. So it's pretty much 5 teams over there. Well, if you stop today, it'd be a runaway. But they're going to have a collapse by the Pirates and the Cubs to have that wild card open up much.
Yeah, it's still a fun time. We've seen over here in the American League how quickly a lead fades.
Yeah.
The Rangers have done a tremendous job since the All-Star break, or even since the beginning of the month. Closing the gap on teams, overtaking 6 teams in the wild card race. just methodically moving up the standings. And, you know, that's been exciting, you know, for me, watching this team go about their business each and every day and being able to knock these teams off. And not just, you know, move ahead of them when they play them head-to-head, but even after that team leaves town or the Rangers leave town, they're still putting distance between them. Right. So that's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, you know, it's been almost 2 months for the Rangers since they've been in second place in the AL West, and they are there at the start of play today. Chu drives one to center. Rajai Davis going back, still going back. A lot of room out there in Death Valley, though, and he makes the catch, stepping onto the warning track. Chu gave it a ride about 400 feet from home plate, but he is a long out. Rangers, though, tie the ball game. Chris Jimenez with his third home run of the year will go to the bottom of the third. Rangers 1, Tigers 1. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The best deals are happening now only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Miguel Cabrera starting things off for the Tigers here in the third inning. A 1-1 ball game now. Chris Jimenez cranked his third home run of the year to tie the game in the top of the third. Cabrera, a base hit to right his first time. And the Rangers with Cole Hamels on the mound playing the infield straight away. And this is kind of a departure for Cabrera. They've been shifting around to the left field side, and Cabrera's worn out the right side of the diamond, so they said, heck with it. We'll leave guys where they're laid out in the scorebook, the official scorebook of baseball.
You know, with a hitter like Cabrera, there's really no way that you can do an overshift because he's good enough, as we saw, or we've been seeing this series, and not just this series, but basically his entire career against the Rangers. He can hit the ball pretty much where he wants to.
Yeah.
He saw the right side open. What did he do? Shot it to right field. Kinsler ends up going to third base and overthrow, and he scores. So he's just such a good hitter. You know, my thing is just, hey, let's just play him straight up, and hopefully he does that and hits a ball right at somebody.
He hit a rocket right at Anzer Alberto, and that is out number one. Yeah, you know, when a guy that's a great hitter like Cabrera is swinging the bat well, that is the only chance you have. Just hope you know he's going to hit the ball.
Right, and he's more than likely going to hit it on the screws, and all you can do is say, hey, hopefully he hits it at somebody, and that'll be an out. You know, the only hitter that, well, not the only hitter, but one of the guys that really comes to mind for me that was able to do that was Wade Boggs.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where the defense set up. He would watch where the defense set up, and he would, do his best to hit it where they just moved from.
Right.
He was very good at it.
Yeah, I would guess that most generations have one, maybe two guys that can do that. Tony Gwynn comes to mind that was able to do that for the Padres over the National League. Rod Carew comes to mind.
Right.
And other than the people we're talking about, not many guys have that ability.
No.
Thank goodness.
Yes, definitely. Thank goodness.
And we'll take a look at our Ford leaderboard. There you go back to the Rangers-Senators franchise, the history of the franchise, the career leader. Vladimir Guerrero, of course, at 395. We saw him up close. Then Cabrera, and 391 in a career.
How do you hit 390 in a career? And this is not a short career. This is not, we're not talking 15 or 20 at-bats here.
No, we're talking 12 years.
Right. It's just incredible to be able to do that against any team. And this is not the only team he does it against either.
Answer Alberto throws out Victor Martinez, 2 away. No, it's not.
That's the incredible part. I mean, he may not be 391, maybe 360, 370 against some other teams, but just that's just a tremendous hitter.
Yeah, if I could play video games, I wouldn't hit 391 in a video game. Since I can't play video games, that's not saying much, but that's ridiculous.
It really is.
But it certainly is worth the price of admission. I would pay that to go watch him play. Here's J.D. Martinez. He takes a knee-high strike, 0-1. Now, Cole Hamels now has retired the last 4. And J.D. Martinez had an infield hit his first time up there. Loops one out to second. And Rougned Odor right there. So for the first time this afternoon, Cole Hamels in a groove, setting down the Tigers in 1-2-3 fashion. After 3, Rangers 1, Tigers 1. On Friday, August 28th, Rangers are going to take on the Baltimore Orioles, and fans who stick around after the game will be treated to a post-game fireworks show set to music highlighting the history of pop music. Fans using the online coupon code FIREWORKS at TexasRangers.com/specials get seats for just $14. Seats are going in a hurry, though, so don't wait. Go get yours this afternoon. Adrian Beltre starting things off for the Rangers here in the 4th inning. A 1-1 game. It will be Beltre, Moreland, and Napoli to face Matt Boyd. Adrian went down swinging his first time up. And then take a little walk around home plate. That swing and a miss. We've seen Adrian have to move around a little bit after a couple of those swings and misses. Let that left thumb calm down. Beltre still one of the toughest in the American League to strike out. 3rd fewest strikeout as far as ratio goes per at bat. Down to the count here at a ball and 2 strikes.
You really wouldn't look at a power guy or expect a power guy to be in those numbers or in that class of guys that are toughest to strike out.
is and has been a number of years in that group. Also, Prince Fielder's up among the toughest to strike out. He's in the 9 at-bats per strikeout. Beltre to right center field. Moving back and to his right, J.D. Martinez. One away. No, Adrian 0 for 2 as he makes a U-turn, heads back to the Ranger dugout. Mitch Moreland will be next. We're talking about the Rangers. First time they've had sole possession of second place in the AL West since the 24th of June. So 2 months ago tomorrow. First time they've also had possession of a wild card spot since the 16th of June. Mitch takes that slow hook that drops in from Matt Boyd for strike one. Mitch, a tapper right back to the mound his first time up there. Into the shift, Kinsler. Down on one knee to grab it. 2 gone. And now it'll be Mike Napoli's turn. Well, the Rangers trying to win 3 out of 4 against the Tigers in this series, and that was something they did last year, last May, and coming in here to Detroit. They played well against the Tigers going back to 2011. They're 17-11 against the Tigers.
That's a pretty good record. You know, it's really tough to win 3 out of 4 in a 4-game set.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as easy as you would think. You win, two out of the first 3. You're like, man, it should be easy to get that 4th one. But for whatever reason, it's tough for any ball club, not just the Rangers, but any ball club to take 3 out of 4 in a 4-game set.
0-1. Now a ball and a strike. Yeah, I find out something else that's remarkable, Mac. The club, the first 6 or 7 years in this ballpark, couldn't win. I don't care what was happening. This was a house of horrors. They've gone 10-5 in the last 15 games here. Napoli skies one to left. That's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Matt Boyd. First time that he has sent the Rangers down in order. We play 3.5 at Comerica Park. It's the Rangers 1 and the Tigers 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Ball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Now the high clouds have floated by for the time being. Bright blue skies overhead, and Cole Hamels back to the hill. Hamels has retired the last 5 Tigers that he has faced in a row, and now Nick Castellanos will start things off in the 4th inning. Big breaking ball makes it 0-1. Castellanos went down swinging the first time that he faced Hamels. Cole with just that one strikeout in his 3 innings of work. Has also walked one. 1-1. Castellanos talked about his last 5 ball games, hit almost 500. There's been a big reason why the Tigers have played well until they ran into a hot Ranger ball club. Castellanos skies to right field, 1 on, 1 gone, and James McCann coming up.
Well, good pitching is really the only thing that's going to cool off a good hitter or a good hitting ball club.
Yep.
The Rangers have done a really good job in these first 3 games of calming this Tigers offense down.
Yeah, they were within 1 out last night of shutting the Tigers out for the 2nd straight night. Colby Lewis and company turned the trick on Friday, and then last night Giovanni Gallardo with 6 shutout innings, and only an Ian Kinsler 3-run home run with 2 outs in the 9th prevented another Ranger shutout. To right center field, that is up the alley. It's going to go for a while. McCann, with pretty good speed, is not going to stop at second. He is headed around toward third, and the throw will not be in time. Now, this is a triples ballpark, and you see why. That ball getting between the outfielders to right center. Tigers now have 39 triples this season. That's the most in the American League.
Cole trying to go down and away. Ball kind of came back a little bit over the plate, over the middle of the plate, and up a little bit higher than he wanted. McCann drills it into right center field. The outfield was swung around, a slight pull. So this ball rolls to the wall, and there's so much room out there. A lot of guys are going to end up with triples hitting the ball there.
So now, with McCann at third and just 1 out, Rangers pull the infield all the way in. And Jose Iglesias takes ball 1. McCann has pretty good speed at third, so the Rangers not able to, as they did here the other night, play more or less halfway. That was with Cabrera at third. But this time, not so much. You got Alberto and Odor and Moreland playing right at the cut of the grass. Pitch in for a strike. It's 1-1. Iglesias drew a walk back in the 2nd inning. Iglesias with 21 RBI. At 3.06 average. A tough customer in a situation like this, especially against left-handed pitching. And he takes strike 2.
Yeah, and if you're going to have to play the infield in, you'd much rather it be against a guy like Iglesias. Not that he's not a good hitter. He's hitting 300 on the year. But he's not Miguel Cabrera, who's going to, hit the ball through you. So if I'm, being in the infield, I'd rather have a guy a little bit smaller in stature up than a big fella.
Shot foul. Yeah, Cabrera with the infield in might plant somebody right there. It would not be pretty. A ball and 2 strikes. Outfield playing fairly shallow and just about straight away for Iglesias. Hamels back to the plate. And Iglesias again tapping a pitch foul. Hamels a 3-time All-Star in his career, and facing Iglesias, who got his first All-Star nod this year. A lot of the Tigers point to Iglesias not being available last year as a reason the Tigers had problems. He singles to center field on a pitch that stayed up and out over the plate. In to score is McCann. And Iglesias gets the Tigers back on top once again. It is 2-1 Detroit. Iglesias with his 22nd RBI.
Cole trying to go down and away again, and ball ran back over the plate. Stayed up in the zone. Iglesias did exactly what he was trying to do, take it right back up the middle with the infield in. Drives in another run.
Well, Iglesias now at first. Here's Tyler Collins. And Hamill remembering that on the first pitch with this pair last time with Iglesias at first, Collins up there. Brad Ausmus put the hit and run on. Well, Cole making sure that Iglesias wasn't set to take off on that first pitch again. Collins had a weak ground ball that got through on the right side. His first time up. So 1 for 1 this afternoon. That batting average at .276. And for Collins, that base hit snapped an 0 for 9 in which he was mired. Iglesias jumping around a little bit over there, and Cole Hamels just a little soft toss. Tigers 2 runs on 6 hits. Rangers 1 run on 2 hits.
You know, a lot of times a runner or a guy that can steal bases at first base or second base, they'll jump around out there just to try and get a pitcher to throw over so they can see either their second best move or their best move. And then from there they can read, hopefully, you know, they're thinking they can read what that pitcher's going to do the next time they really want to run.
Up the middle, that is into center field, a base hit. Iglesias rounding second. He is headed for third. He will make it without a throw. And Collins with his second base hit puts runners at the corners with 1 out.
You know, Buzz, I think that was a situation where Hamels was a little bit too worried about Iglesias over there at first base. He slowed his delivery down, trying to give him a higher, slower leg kick so he could read Iglesias if he was going to steal or not. And I think he lost a little bit of concentration on the hitter Collins.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Mac. And I always felt with nobody out, you can pay all the attention you want to. You got to make sure that guy doesn't get a great jump, because second base with nobody out is kind of a big deal. But first base to second base with 1 out, I'm not too concerned about it. As concerned about that.
No, I think you've got to work on getting a ground ball in that situation, and trust your catcher. You get the ball to him quick enough, he's got a good shot at throwing the runner out if he decides to go. And honestly, Iglesias isn't a speed burner.
Right.
So, you know, that guy there, you're pretty much, thinking about, okay, maybe it's going to be a hit and run like the last time. But, trying to pick him off, I wouldn't be too concerned with that.
Yeah, he's 11 out of 18, and that, he does have pretty good speed, but he's not quite a good base stealer yet. But now you have runners at first and third. Mike Maddox out to order up the double play ball. Rajai Davis, the hitter. Davis twice has skied to center. Well, he had a pitch on the first pitch to work with and fouled it straight back, and he is angry with himself right about now. Davis with 4 home runs, 18 driven in. Pretty much plays full-time against left-handers. Got Iglesias at third, Collins at first. 1 ball and 1 strike.
We need a ground ball to Alberto's left, a couple of steps, 1 or 2, because Davis can get down that line. So if he hits a ground ball and an infielder has to move a couple of steps, probably not going to get it.
Or a strikeout.
That would be good. That's a good one.
Now Cole's in a position to try that now. Davis twice is flying out to center field. That would not be what you want in this situation. Hamels a check at first. Got him swinging.
There it is.
Went up and got Davis for the big strikeout. 2 gone for Kinsler. Second strikeout for Hamels this afternoon. And now Kinsler coming up, who Hamels has jammed twice.
See Cole going up in the zone, top of the strike zone to get Davis. He's just trying to put the ball in play to score that runner from third base, so he expanded that strike zone.
Iglesias talking with Omar Vizquel over there, the third base coach. Over at first, Tyler Collins. Kinsler has singled and popped out weakly to first. 1 ball, no strikes. Now you've jammed Kinsler twice. You need to be careful this third time. If you try to come in there early in the count again, Kinsler will open up every once in a while and maybe hit that thing 60 feet foul.
So you saw that too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kids is looking for something inside. Something he can drive and probably make a souvenir out of right about now. He doesn't want to get jammed a third time, so I think Cole has probably opened up the outside part of the plate for himself.
The guessing game continues. It's a matter of how well Cole now can execute. He's got the advantage as far as guesses are concerned. 2-0 the count. Well hit to left center field. Going over is Delino to Shields. He makes the catch, and that will do it. The Tigers regain the lead. They get a run on 3 hits and lead 2. We have finished 4 here at Comerica. Tigers 2, Rangers 1.
By our run here as we are in the 5th inning, and we're at Comerica Park. And if you come to Detroit on business or pleasure, there's one more restaurant I got to recommend for you. It's called the Green Dot Stables, and you have got to try this place. Legend has it that it was started by a jockey who formerly raced horses over at one of the local thoroughbred tracks, and the menu is great. It's so unique. It's all sliders. And you're saying, come on, how boring is that? All sliders? That's a really boring menu. Not burgers. I'm talking all kinds of sliders, like corned beef sliders and Cuban sliders and BLT sliders, and a unique variety of sliders. And each and every day on the menu, they have something called the mystery meat. They encourage you there at the restaurant to go ahead and try the mystery meat because it's delicious. So we did when we were there. We tried the mystery meat. There it is. It's a classic shish kofta. It's a Lebanese meat that's a lamb and a beef. It's got a dill dressing along with some garlic spread, and it is absolutely delicious. The greatest thing about this place, guys, $3 a sandwich. That's it. $3 a sandwich. You're out the door. It's delicious and cheap. If you're in downtown Detroit, you got to try it. Green Dot Stables. Guys, back up to you.
John, I got to tell you, now I take your recommendations because I know you're very serious about it. Rugi's going to get a double out of that ball hit to right field. But I know you're serious about your recommendations. I would be a little hesitant to try the mystery meat in a place called the Stables.
Yeah,
I've heard what they do with racehorses that don't perform well.
Boy, that is a great point, Buzz. I'm glad I never thought of that when I was there. But yeah, they lay it on the table. You're not sure what it is till you bite in, so you might be dangerous there.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Now Rougned Odor with a leadoff 2-bagger. So the Rangers coming right back. They trail 2-1. Now Ryan Strasburger will come up and try at least to advance Odor. Strasburger rounded into a double play his first time up there.
This is definitely a bunt situation, whether he's going to bunt for a base hit or sacrifice. Got to get that runner over to third base with less than 2 outs. He got out in front of the pitch and hooked it down the right field line. Great at bat. His first 2 strikes, he kind of walked out trying to drop down a bunt for a base hit, but got breaking pitches to do it with. Took those and came back being down in the count 0-2 and got a leadoff double.
And Strasburger taking strike 2. He was kind of disguised that as long as he possibly could instead of getting the sacrifice down. He was thinking bunt base hit. Now he's down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes.
And these are the situations where you've got to execute. You have to get that butt down somehow, some way.
Now Jeff Bannister coming out to talk to Adam Homari. Be quite honest, I'm not really sure what the discussion's about. Apparently, somebody on the Ranger bench was overdoing it a little bit and might have gotten thrown out. I'm not sure. But Bannister coming out trying to plead his case, and not very pleased with the case he's pleading.
No, I couldn't see if he tossed somebody, but it looks like it from the way Bannister's going at him that somebody got tossed, and I'm trying to figure out why. Because if somebody was barking, it's one pitch. Typically you have a little bit more time. Oh, still can't see from there. Boo's right there in the background, and he didn't really say anything.
That wasn't him. It was somebody down the middle of the dugout. And now Jeff is going to continue with Ron Culpa, the crew chief. Got to make sure that, hey, these guys do have a right to go ahead and express their displeasure if they want to, as long as they stay within the bounds of normalcy. And apparently, Amari's idea of normalcy was not what he was being accused of. We will try and get that cleared up and pass along to you who was the victim of that ejection.
Please,
it looks like Adrian Beltre is up there in the top step.
You've got to be kidding me. How can you hear anything from that far away about one pitch?
Yeah, and you don't hear Adrian. You don't see Adrian argue about hardly anything. And he's up there barking at Ron Culpa. And it was Adrian that got run, apparently, because Culpa's telling him you got to leave the dugout. Bannister making sure that Beltre doesn't go on the field. Well, I hope that's not the case. And now Bannister's been thrown. Well, if Beltre got run for questioning the balls and strikes call, I can see why Bannister's going crazy about it. He should.
Yeah, not obviously us not knowing what was said from up here, but it just seems like it, that was just a quick response there to throw somebody out of the game. And then Beltre from down there at the corner of the dugout, and it was the home plate umpire that tossed him. So I'm not sure what Beltre could have said from that far away, because this, number one, the dugouts are huge.
Yeah.
And that's a long way from home plate to the dugout.
I don't know what you're going to say from 100 feet that Amari is going to take personally like that, to be quite honest. And especially, Beltre does not say anything to get thrown out.
No, he doesn't. I mean,
not with somebody else at the plate.
Yeah, and you look at what he did when he found out it was him that got tossed. He still stayed in the dugout. Typically, a guy, if he gets thrown out, he's going to go out there and say his piece.
Right. So we're back to play. 0-2 the count. And Strasburger going up out of the strike zone, fouls it back. So apparently, we will have no Adrian Beltre for the rest of the ballgame. We have no Jeff Bannister for the rest of the ballgame. So Steve Buechele becomes the acting manager. High and tight. Boyd ready for the 1-2 pitch. That's not going to get Odor over to third. Snap throw just in time. Iglesias playing games out there with Odor at second. Almost lost the play on Strasburg. But he gets him for out number one. So Ryan not able to advance Odor. Now Chris Jimenez will come up.
That's a tough situation there. You've got to get that runner over third base any way you can. And if you can't get the bunt for a base hit down, you've got to just give yourself up to get that runner over. Boyd's been pretty tough. He's only given up 3-4 hits on the day. So you're down 2-1. You've got to get that runner over there to third base.
And Mac, that's one of those things we were talking about playing well down the stretch, about having that chip on your shoulder, making sure that you play solid fundamental baseball. If you get beaten, it's because the other team played a lot better than you did.
Right.
It's not because you didn't execute your fundamentals, and that's a fundamental play, getting that runner from second to third.
Right. You're going to make physical errors. They're going to happen, but the mental mistakes, you've got to eliminate those as much as possible. And for me, that's a mental mistake that you just can't afford to have.
A 1 out. Chris Jimenez hit the home run his first time up. Changeup floats outside. It's 2 balls, no strikes. So Jimenez now a .273 average, 3 home runs, 9 RBI. The catchers, we've talked about them from time to time. Boy, that foursome, Chris Jimenez and Bobby Wilson of late. But you also throw in Carlos Corporán, Robinson Chirinos, and they have provided a lot of offense for the Rangers in comparison to the rest of the catchers.
Yeah,
a .220 average with 15 home runs, 65 RBI.
That's one pretty good player right there.
Yep.
They've definitely gotten the job done. And Jimenez and Bobby Wilson have come in over the last 3 weeks, and they put up some pretty good numbers. And typically, or basically, they were brought in as defensive players, but they've definitely contributed on the offensive side.
Inside corner, and the count evens now at 2-2. I believe he called that a strike.
I think he held up. I don't think he did.
Boyd's next pitch is on the outside corner. Jimenez already taken a step or two toward first, and he'll have to quietly retrace his steps. Don't say anything. Can't afford to lose another player.
That's a pretty big one we already lost. And, Adrian Beltre, going back to that, he's a veteran ball player, so he understands that he can't afford to get thrown out. So that leads me to believe that, he really didn't say anything worth being thrown out about.
Pitch is high, ball 4. Jimenez draws the walk. Rangers now runners at first and second with 1 out for Hanser Alberto. Yeah, I would agree with you, Beck. I think Adrian knows what the boundaries are, and I doubt that he would cross them. But sometimes the boundaries change, and you're not aware of it until it's too late. For Matt Boyd, his second walk of the afternoon, his first since the first inning. Hanser Alberto had a pop out to short, his first time to the plate. Got Odor at second, Jimenez at first. One ball, no strikes. Alberto, as we mentioned, one of the better defensive shortstops in all of professional baseball. He won the minor league Gold Glove last year for designating him as the best shortstop in all the minor leagues. Pops this one into shallow left. And Tyler Collins makes the grab. That is out number 2. It'll bring up Delino to Shields. So Odor still at second. He's been there since his leadoff double. Jimenez joined him 1 out later with a walk at first. Delino to Shields has struck out and fly to left field today. Now James McCann out to talk with Matt Boyd briefly. Mentioned Boyd against the Rangers in his major league debut at 6 2/3 innings for the Blue Jays. That was back on the 27th of June. Gave up 9 hits and 4 runs. Did not walk anybody and struck out 7. Today he's held the Rangers to just 1 run so far. And he drops in the curveball for strike 1 to Delino. The Shields a swinging strikeout in the first inning. Fly ball to left in the third. 0-2 the count.
Rangers can use a base hit here with runners in scoring position. Odor led off with a double. Strasburger couldn't get him over to third. Jimenez got a walk, so 2 down, and hopefully Delino can come through here.
1-2 as that fastball sails high. Now Delino currently hitting at .257. Odor at second. Jimenez getting his lead from first. Matt Boyd set for the 1-2 pitch. Up the middle, right back to Boyd. And he will underhand to Victor Martinez, and the Ranger threat has gone by the boards. No runs, a hit, 2 men are left. We're halfway through the ball game. It's the Tigers 2, the Rangers 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. To Dollar Hot Dog Night at Globe Life Park. Next opportunity to enjoy the ballpark tradition is coming up Wednesday, August 26th. Head on out to Globe Life Park. Cheer on your Rangers against the Toronto Blue Jays. Tickets are available at TexasRangers.com. Hanser Alberto is playing third base now as he moves over from shortstop to take the place of the ejected Adrian Beltre, and taking Alberto's place at short would be Elvis Andrus. Miguel Cabrera leading off the Tiger fifth inning. He takes a curveball for a strike. It is 1-1. Cabrera 1 for 2, and he's 2 for 3. As you said, Matt, whatever the man wants to do, he's probably going to do.
Just an incredible hitter. Just watching him, go about his business from day to day. You look at the defense, and he says, okay, there's a hole here now, there's a hole there. Let me try for one of these two, and he punches this one through the third base shortstop hole on the left side. Just incredible.
It's very rare that you see him off stride,
right
out in front to where he's completely off balance. It's amazing, especially for a guy that big.
Right. That's the thing. He's such a big guy that his swing is still short and compact and extremely powerful. Power to all fields.
Well, 1 on, nobody out. Victor Martinez takes a strike. Tigers now with 8 hits against Cole Hamels. Martinez 0 for 2. He's popped out and grounded out. And this one's popped up. Elvis backpedaling into shallow left, sunglasses glistening. 1 away. Now before J.D. Martinez steps in, let's send it back to Aaron Hardigan for a Mazda game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Here the Rangers trailing the Tigers 2-1. Miguel Cabrera at first, 1 out in the 5th inning. J.D. Martinez takes outside for ball 1. Martinez an infield single in 2 trips. Batting average at .288 as he faces Hamels. J.D. Martinez now 3 for 12 in this series. And he has extended his hitting streak to a modest 3 games. Having quite a year. The big slugger, 4th in the American League with 250 total bases. 5th in slugging percentage and RBI. He's got 81 driven in. Tied for 5th with 54 extra base hits. He's 6th in home runs. As he fouls that next pitch back. So a late bloomer, I guess you could say, and J.D. Martinez making the most of his time.
And he's definitely blooming. 32 and 81. That's pretty good to go along with Cabrera and what he does, and Victor Martinez.
Out of play. And 32 home runs playing half your games in this ballpark. That's doing something.
That is definitely doing something. It's not like he's doing, got 32 home runs and he's playing half of his games in Colorado.
Right.
Just the opposite here.
Speaking of Colorado, did you see where Michael Taylor of the Phillies hit that, the Nationals hit that ball the other night in Colorado?
Yeah.
Fly ball to right field. That's obscene.
Video game stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
493 feet is what StatCast measured it at. I think that was just a vapor trail. I'm not sure they found out where the ball came down completely.
493. Let's see. I got to mix those numbers up. 349 is
an anagram, right? Your numbers. Wow. That's a long way for a baseball to travel from one person. Although as a pitcher, I can honestly say I would have been proud if I'd given one up that long.
You might have been proud, but that next hitter probably wore it too, didn't he?
I hope he wouldn't have hit one quite as far. Here's Nick Castellanos. 1 ball, no strikes. Castellanos is struck out and fly to right field. Well, Cole trying to work around the leadoff Cabrera single. Trying to get Castellanos to finish off this 5th inning. 2 balls and a strike. Castellanos brings in a 5-game hitting streak into play here today. Castellanos, one of the guys that folks who are around the Tigers all the time say he really had a change of outlook early in the season. Got off to a terrible start. Young man trying to find his way along at third base, and all of a sudden things clicked for him, and he has really come on to play great baseball the last month and a half or so.
Yeah, there are a lot of times there are just different things that make different players click. They find it, they stop putting pressure on themselves, or they add more pressure to themselves. Mm-hmm. They figure out something that they were doing wrong. They make that adjustment, and things just fall into place.
Cole Hamels almost caught Miguel Cabrera, wandering off first base. 3-0 the count. Cabrera doesn't really have any place to go over there. Yeah, we saw that with Rougned Odor. His happened to be going down to AAA and finding himself there and coming back and bringing it with him. We've seen Elvis Andrus find it offensively for sure the last 6 or 7 weeks. So yeah, hard to put a finger on what gets one guy going and might not get another guy going.
You're right. Same thing with Chu out and right.
Yeah,
same way.
Yeah.
One day, just things click.
Now ball 4 puts Castellanos at first and moves Cabrera to second. 2 on, 2 out for James McCann. McCann has grounded out and tripled this afternoon. His triple set up the go-ahead run for the Tigers last inning.
Well, Cole definitely needs to be careful here in this situation. McCann's already got the triple off of him, so he wants to make sure that this is where it stops.
Well, that triple for McCann was his 4th of the year, so that wasn't an accident. And you can see why playing in this ballpark, if you're a gap-type hitter with reasonable speed, you're going to get a shot at a lot of triples.
Oh, there's no question. There's so much room out there from right center field around to left center field. If you hit it up that alley somewhere, you can run for days. And I really love to see guys like Rajai Davis playing here hit the ball in the gap that way or over the center fielder's head, because that could be an inside the Parker.
Yep. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, we talk about the exciting plays in baseball, and certainly the relay from deep in the corner or deep in the alley is a great play, and you see it run well. To me, the inside the park home run is still the most exciting.
Wow, those are fun. You know, you'll see a guy that can motor, that has the speed to do it, and then when he hits what you may think is a ball to do it on, oh, that excitement goes from 0 to 100.
And James McCann has a little bit of experience that way. His first major league home run happened to be inside the Parker. A ball and 2 strikes to him here.
Cole trying to work himself out of the jam here for the 5 innings he's been out there. He's had at least 2 runners on, so trying to get out of this jam with no damage.
Hamels a check of second. Got him swinging. Foul tip into the glove of Chris Jimenez. And Adam Hamari, the umpire, said, let me look at that ball a second. There was dirt on it. And unfortunately, that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, nice try. Yep. Dirt, little scrape on it. Yeah, that ball went to the dirt first. Good look at it here. There it goes off the end of the bat. Jimenez, nice acting job. Nice try. Hey, you got to try it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Don't mind that little dust cloud there. I was just kicking up stuff in my shoe. We'll try the 1-2 pitch again. Little looper into right field. Chu coming in a couple of steps. That will do it. So a nice job by Cole Hamels to work around the leadoff single. 2 left aboard for the Tigers. We're moving on to the 6th inning. Tigers 2, Rangers 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $700 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, William Dickinson from Verdun, Texas will win $700. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, William is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Shin-Soo Choo will start things off for the Rangers here in the sixth. It'll be Choo, then Elvis Andrus, and Mitch Moreland. Adrian Beltre, in case you missed it, ejected for arguing from the bench about a ball strike call, apparently. So Choo steps in 0 for 1. He has walked and skied to center field. Matt Boyd, a strike to the outside corner. Choo now a .242 average. And Boyd all of a sudden able to paint both sides of the plate. 0-2. Matt Boyd, a 24-year-old, grew up in the Seattle, Washington area, went to Oregon State University. A pretty good program at Oregon State. Went to the College World Series back-to-back years, and he hits Shin-Soo Choo as that breaking ball kind of popped out of his hand.
That's going to get things started. Need to get something going here right now. Now, Choo probably would have preferred to get a hit rather than to get hit, but hey, anything to get on base.
Yeah, and that breaking ball probably won't leave very much of a mark.
You know, even though he's got that elbow pad on, whew, still feel it.
So Choo aboard to start the Rangers sixth. Texas trailing at 2-1, and Elvis Andrus with his first at bat of the afternoon. Elvis slated to have an off day today, but not to be. Adrian Beltre decided to, or actually Adam Mahari, the home plate umpire, decided Adrian was going to take the rest of the day off. A push bunt, it's a good one. Elvis trying to beat the tag. He does for the base hit. There's what you were talking about, Mac, making that first baseman. In this case, Victor Martinez field the ball, and Elvis did it well.
Absolutely. Once that first baseman leaves first base, he's got to go to his right just a little bit, a step or two, and that's really going to give whoever's bunting the opportunity to beat that ball out, because it's very difficult to do that when that first baseman leaves. You're going to have either the second baseman covering, which very rarely happens, or in that pitcher, especially if it's a left-hander, he's falling toward third base. He has no chance to beat Elvis over there. You see Elvis is already way ahead of him, and he's still in that baseline going out of the way, so I don't think Ausmus has much to argue about there. You know, that's got to be the pitcher coming over to get that ball and hopefully get a flip over to first base. That's the only way you're going to get Elvis, but as soon as that first baseman leaves, it's over. Nice job by Elvis.
Elvis kind of a hard belly landing down there, and he's shaking up a little bit. Steve Buechele and Matt Lucero out there to make sure he's all right. Just probably had the wind knocked out of him a little bit. Saw in that replay that he came down pretty hard on his solar plexus.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You're not really expecting to have to do that. Then all of a sudden there it is, and you just go for it. Great job avoiding the tag.
So 2 on now with nobody out. Mitch Moreland at the plate. We'll see how the Rangers want to play this. Mitch today 0 for 2. He's going against a left-hander that's kind of gotten his number. Castellanos, the third baseman, playing even with the bag. He's not so sure of what Moreland might be asked to do. And Mitch taking all the way at strike one.
Now, I've got to believe he's going to be swinging here. There's no reason to have Mitch bunt. I just don't think that's a good idea. He's leading the team in home runs, and it's something he doesn't do anyway.
Boyd set at the belt. 0-2.
You know, but it would have been interesting to see what if Elvis wasn't able to continue, what that lineup would look like without Beltre being able to go out there. No more backup infielders.
Yep.
So I would probably think that Jimenez would move to third, Alberto going back to short, and Bobby Wilson behind the plate.
Yeah, you're kind of out of options.
Yeah. Don't have a whole lot.
No. Now the 0-2 coming from Boyd. Mitch able to lay off that one. It's 1-2. Mitch has performed extremely well going back to the first part of June, as a matter of fact, in these situations. Runners in scoring position. Mitch has been a .351 hitter. On 20 for 57 in that span. Ball club has done much better job hitting with runners in scoring position. They're .291 as a team since the All-Star break. That ball is shot down the right field line, a fair ball, and into the corner. Around third, coming in to score is Chu. Being waved around third is Elvis. Here comes the throw from Kinsler, not in time. And Mitch Moreland turns this score around, gives the Rangers the lead with a 2-run double. It is 3-2 Texas.
That's why you don't have Mitch Moreland bunt. He's a run producer in the middle of the lineup and leading this ball club in home runs. So you let him swing the bat, and hopefully he'll find a hole, and he found a pretty good one down that right field line. Drive in 2. Boyd trying to go with a breaking ball. Left it up in the zone out over the middle of the plate. Mitch crushes it and drills it down that right field line. Great hitting being down in the count 0-2. Mistake that Mitch took advantage of. And that's what you got to be able to do. Drives in 2. Puts the Rangers out in front.
Well, Mac, you mentioned it started with a hit by pitch. Chu down on the count 0-2 was hit by a curveball. A mistake by Matt Boyd. Then the bunt base hit by Elvis. And then Boyd got ahead. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Moreland and hung a breaking ball.
You know, and that's what happens. A lot of times, you know, this game comes down to 1 or 2 mistakes, whether it be offensively, defensively, or from the pitcher. And right now, it's like the 2 mistakes in just this 1 inning so far. There's still nobody out and Mitch at second base.
Right.
You know, those are the little things that cost you.
And Mike Napoli up there. Knapp is 1 out of 2 today, and he has taken a couple of shots at the right side, trying to get Moreland over to third base. Well, the Rangers 3 runs now on 5 hits. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Napoli. Mike now has hit safely in his last 3 ball games for the Rangers. 1 for 4, drove in a run in yesterday's win. Little pop-up. Long run over for Victor Martinez. He can't get there in time, and it bounds into the stands. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
Knapp trying to give himself up and go the other way and drive that ball, or just hit it to the right side, whether it's a ground ball or a fly ball to right or center field, trying to get Moreland over to third base with less than 2 outs. You know, and that's where, you know, Buzz, that veteran hitter comes into play there. Knows what his job is and, you know, is trying to get it done.
Shallow left field. Collins comes in to make the catch. That is out number 1. Knapp kind of protecting the plate, got out in front a little bit. Pops out, now Rougned Odor. You saw Drew Verhagen, right-hander, loosening up in the Tiger bullpen a moment ago. There he is. Rangers have gotten to Matt Boyd for a couple of runs here in the 6th. They're looking for more. Rougned Odor, 1 for 2, will step to the plate. Odor had a ringing double to right field his last time up. Moreland the lead from second. Boyd checks it. 0-1 on the foul ball. Now, Rougned in this series now 4 out of 12. You can see his last 20 games. You want to take it back that far? 342 the average.
I think one of the improvements or adjustments that Ruger's made, Buzz, is, you know, he had a little bit of a stretch, you know, 2 or 3 games without a hit, 0 for 10, 0 for 12. But he stayed with it. He didn't go in and say, hey, I've got to make some changes. I haven't gotten a hit in a few days. He stayed calm and came back and just started hitting the next day.
Lines this one to center. Davis a few steps to his left makes the grab. Back to second. is Moreland. He's there with 2 outs now for Ryan Strasburger. Yeah, and that's something, isn't that, Mac, that experience teaches you that that's the best way to approach a downturn?
Yeah, you have to, because you're going to go through downturns throughout the course of the season, and every time you have one, you'll go 2 or 3 days or even 4 days without a hit. You can't run into the cage and say, hey, I've got to change this, I've got to change that, I've got to, rework my whole stance. It's just you've got to stay the course, realize what, some of the mistakes that you made and make the adjustments, not necessarily changes, but adjustments to what's been going on. And that's pretty much it. You just can't go back to the drawing board every time you go into a little bit of a downturn.
Sounds like one of those cases too, where trial and error only goes so far. You got to, if you find something that works, you got to stay with that, right?
Stay with it, because there are going to be days when you feel great, and you're going to go out there and go 0 for 4 with 3 punch outs, and the next day you go out and you feel terrible, and you come up with 2 or 3 hits.
Ryan Strasburger has grounded out twice this afternoon. Once to third, once to short. Waving at that off-speed pitch. It is 1 ball and 1 strike. Strasburger's average now 235, a home run, a couple driven in. He's got Mitch Moreland out there at second. Moreland has given the Rangers the lead with a 2-run double here in the 6th. One and 2 now. Strasburger making his 6th start in the last 8 ball games. You remember when Josh Hamilton, before Josh went on the disabled list, he came down sore in that left knee, and at the end of that last road trip, Strasburger had a couple of starts and 1 more at home. Hamilton finally going on the disabled list. And Strasburger, and looks like Strasburger and Will Venable will pretty much split time as far as a platoon setup, at least for the time being.
And I think we're going to see Strasburger over the next few days. We've got a couple of left-handers once we get back home, so he's going to get a lot of playing time, and Venable will as well. And we saw what Venable can contribute the other night. Great night. Drove in a run, saved one with a throw out to the plate.
Got him swinging. So Boyd comes back to get the strikeout, but Rangers scored twice. You get 2 runs on 2 hits and leave 1. After 5.5, it's now the Rangers 3 and the Tigers 2. Feature kids promotions this year at Globe Life Park, and on Sunday, August 30th, the first 7,500 kids 13 and under will receive a Shin-Soo Choo blue batting helmet that's sponsored by Dairy Queen. Head on over to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets for the 30th or for any of the home stand coming up. Toronto and Baltimore coming in. Big games for the Rangers in that wild card race, and also big games for the Rangers going down the stretch in the AL West. Well, Cole Hamels now with a lead to protect. First time that Cole has gone out there with the advantage on the scoreboard. Dealing to Jose Iglesias. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Hamels has only had one 1-2-3 inning. That was back in the third. A couple of ground balls and a pop out. Other than that, he has had traffic every inning. As he misses low, it's 2-1. Iglesias, an RBI single in the fourth. He walked in the second inning.
Yeah, this is going to be a big inning for Cole Hamels. Go out there and try and get a goose egg.
Little limp line drive out to Rougned Odor for out number 1. It's a good start. Keep that leadoff man off the base. Now you can deal with Tyler Collins with the bases empty. Keone Kela getting ready in that Ranger bullpen. And we're to the point now in this game, Mac, where that fortified Ranger bullpen starting to come into play.
Yeah, and this Rangers bullpen has been very much improved. You've got Kela. Got Dyson's come in and done a tremendous job. Diekman's done a tremendous job. And Mr. Tollison's continued pitching well since he's taken over the closer role back in May.
Tyler Conlon's out on 1 pitch. There are 2 gone. Back to the top of the order for Rajai Davis. Yeah, when your closer, who throws pretty well, has the softest stuff of anybody in the tail end of the bullpen, you know you're in pretty good shape.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
I think so.
Closer comes out throwing 93, 94.
Yeah.
Everybody else, 96 and above.
Yeah.
I like it. And the important thing about that is they tend to throw strikes.
Yeah. Yeah, they have. You get a little erratic from time to time, but that's to be expected when you're throwing that hard. Rajai Davis showing bunt, takes a strike. Davis 0 for 3, a couple of flyouts and a strikeout.
But what does that do for a starting pitcher when you know you've got a great bullpen out there that can handle the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning?
Little looping drive at Elvis catches. We'll talk about that. But a 6-pitch inning kind of got us out of here in a hurry.
I like it.
Cole Hamels taking care of it. Another 1-2-3 inning for Hamels and a shutdown inning at that. On to the 7th, 3-2 Rangers. Game summary, and Chris Gibbon has got things started with his 3rd home run of the year. Got the Rangers back into a 1-1 tie in the 3rd. And Jose Iglesias took Cole Hamels right back through the middle to give the Tigers the lead at 2-1. But back came the Rangers. Mitch Moreland, a big 2-run double into the corner and right. And Mitch scoring Chu and Elvis. Got the Rangers out in front for the first time today, 3-2, and that's where we stand as the Tigers go to the field. And Drew Verhagen, the 24-year-old right-hander from Rockwall, Texas, on now. Verhagen went to Navarro Junior College and He was selected by the Tigers in the 4th round of the 2012 draft out of Vanderbilt. Spent his last year or two at with the Commodores down there. Boy, Vanderbilt, almost always now when you see a team, they've got somebody that played with Vanderbilt in the recent past. Great program down in Tennessee. So Verhagen starting things off. Chris Jimenez takes outside. It is 2 balls and no strikes. Jimenez, the home run, also a walk. So a perfect afternoon so far, 1 for 1. And Verhagen hits the outside corner. Jimenez facing Verhagen. Verhagen will mostly fastball changeup. He'll mix in a curveball. Good size right-hander at 6'6". Was about 230 pounds. Born in Royce City, Texas. Part of the Navarro College Junior College World Series championship team back in 2011. Also pitched a couple of summers in the Cape Cod League. And a base hit to right. Boy, Chris Jimenez taking exactly what Drew Verhagen gave him. That was a fastball away and poked it through the hole.
Nice hitting by Jimenez. Continuing to swing the bat well. Big solo shot a couple innings back. Fastball out over the plate. Goes right with it just like he's supposed to.
The 1 on, nobody out. The number 9 hitter, Hanser Alberto, will come to the plate. Probably be a bunt situation, huh, Mac?
Definitely a bunt situation here. Get that runner over to second base. Get him into scoring position.
Hanser around to bunt. 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, this is what a lot of managers talk about, doing what the scoreboard tells you to do. You've got a one-run lead. You're on the road. You've got a leadoff hitter on. Guy who handles the bat well, who can bunt. Sacrifice situation. Bunt that runner over to second base and let your teammates behind you pick him up.
Now, considering what we were talking about, too, with the lack of mobility of Victor Martinez at first, would you make him field the ball?
Yes, because he's a right-handed first baseman, so it's going to be tougher for him to try and throw the runner out at second base if there's an opportunity there. He's going to have to turn his body all the way around or throw against his body to make it happen, like right there.
Well, he made a nice play there. That ball bunted just a little too sharply, and credit Victor Martinez. It wasn't the most graceful-looking play, but he got the job done.
Right, that's a tough play for a right-handed first baseman to make, but if he gets a ball that's bunted too hard like that one was, he's got an opportunity to make the play, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do with it. As soon as that ball came off the bat, he lined himself up as best he could to throw that ball to second base and get Jimenez, who's not a fast base runner.
Like most of the time, you'll see a right-handed first baseman spin the opposite way when he fields that, get himself in position, but Victor Martinez has been more comfortable going to the inside.
Yeah, sometimes you have to go that way depending on what position you get yourself into, and I actually like that play turning against your body, because you can see where you're wanting to throw the ball as opposed to spinning around. It's a little bit tougher to pick that up.
So 1 out now with Alberto at first, taking the place of Chris Jimenez, the fielder's choice. And Delino to Shields up for his 4th at bat. Delino has struck out, flied out, and grounded out today. Maybe an option or two here should the Rangers choose to use a hit and run, or 0-1 the count.
It's a very good option, especially right now. I typically wouldn't want to do it on the first pitch, especially for a hitter seeing a pitcher for the very first time. Maybe the second pitch would be a good one, but Delino went ahead and swung at that, and even though he's down in the count right now, it still may be an option.
Alberto at first with pretty good speed. That takes care of the hit and run possibility. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Delino a little tentative in that last one, and you're right, Mac. Seeing a guy for the first time, a little bit tough, especially a guy that's got the stuff that Verhagen does, comes at you at that angle for a right-handed hitter.
That angle, 95, and he's got some movement with the fastball. A little bit difficult to send a hitter up there that hasn't seen him to, execute a hit and run. But hey, not impossible to do.
Slowly hit to third. Castellanos on the run. Low throw dug out nicely by Victor Martinez for the out. Hanser Alberto to second. He's there with 2 away for Shin-Soo Choo. Well, credit Nick Castellano for making a good play. If he hesitates at all, Delano DeShields beats that out. Nick Castellano showing you pretty good hot corner play.
Well, Alberto gets to second base. There are 2 outs, but he's at least in scoring position for Choo, who's done a really good job the second half of getting on base, hitting for power, hitting well with runners in scoring position.
And they're not going to mess with him with first base open. Elvis Andrus, the next scheduled hitter, and because Adrian Beltre was ejected earlier in the ballgame. Well, you bring Elvis up and let him face the right-hander. Percentage moves. Choo in the process of drawing his second walk of the day, so he's been on board 3 different times. He's walked twice, been hit by a pitch, and scored the tying run back in the 6th inning. Now we'll see if Elvis can't turn the tables on Brad Ausmus' strategy.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Elvis has been swinging a very, very potent bat lately. So if he gets a pitch out over the plate that he can handle, I think we've got a pretty good idea of what he's going to be looking for here.
Yeah.
Not a bad strategy. That was my strategy my whole career.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing. Just don't miss it.
A lot better than going up there looking for a curveball that you can't hit anyway.
Well, tell me about it. I hear that all the time. Hey, he's got to learn how to hit the curveball. No, you have to learn how to recognize the curveball. I try to explain to people, if you get a good curveball, you're not going to hit it.
Right.
That's why it's called a good curveball. You're in position to hit that fastball. You're going to hit a hanging curveball. So be ready for the fastball.
And there was the curveball on the first pitch from Verhagen. It's outside for ball 1. Elvis, in his first at bat, pushed a bunt down to Victor Martinez at first and beat it out. Actually, slid around the tag, but same thing.
Safe.
Yep. Two balls, no strikes. And now Elvis can pretty much settle on pitch and location. Get that fastball out over the plate a little bit, down, maybe inner half. Get that leg kick all timed out. Up the middle, Kinsler to the backhand. He'll go the short way for the force. Elvis hit it hard, but Kinsler made the play on it. For the Rangers, no runs a hit. They strand 2. We'll take the stretch at Comerica Park with the Rangers leading the Tigers 3-2. Crowd, nice crowd on hand this Sunday afternoon at Comerica Park. Our Kubota Power Stats. We're looking forward to the beginning of the series against the Toronto Blue Jays. And on Tuesday night, Mark Burley will toe the hill for Toronto. This season, 13 wins. That's tied for 4th in the American League. 4 complete games. That's tied for 1st in all of Major League Baseball. 14th straight season with 200-plus innings of work. And the Blue Jays starter on Tuesday night against the Rangers. Should be an interesting series. You got the Blue Jays for 3 on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday afternoon. And then the Baltimore Orioles follow the Blue Jays in. So a couple birds on the way. By the way, Derek Holland is going to make that start. Rangers announced that they are going to skip Martin Perez's turn in the rotation this time through, trying to manage Martin's innings and outings since coming off that disabled list. So it'll be Derek Holland on Tuesday night. Keone Kela has entered the ballgame to take over for the Rangers here in the 7th.
You know, I think this is a great time to get Cole out. Went 6 strong innings. Now you turn it over to that bullpen that's been pretty steady, especially with the addition of Dyson and Diekman out there. It's really solidified this bullpen. So I think a starting pitcher, we were about to talk about it before last inning, Buzz. What does that do for a starting pitcher when you know you've got a bullpen that you can that can go out there the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning and pretty much handle things?
Back what I've always felt with is you didn't worry about a situation late in the ballgame, because if they weren't coming in, you know they weren't far behind. So you felt like you had a little extra gas in the tank to get out of whatever jam you might encounter late in the ballgame with that safety net. Now, if you're kind of out there without a good bullpen, you're figuring out, okay, now how can I get through this inning and next inning too? And good bullpen, you don't worry about that. You go ahead and go as hard as you can for, as they say, as long as you can in that inning, and turn it over to the guys you have a lot of confidence in. That's what the Rangers are doing here. Ian Kinsler, first hitter to face Keone Kela. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Kinsler this afternoon 1 for 3. Had a single in the first, scored the first run of the ball game. Kela breaking out that hook and just missed with it. It's 2-1. Well, Cole Hamels, 6 innings of work today, 8 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. He had a couple of walks and 2 strikeouts. Now 2-2 to Kinsler. Kela, the 22-year-old from the Seattle, Washington area. Grew up there, born in Los Angeles. Misses low and outside. The count is full. So Kinsler trying to get aboard to start the Tigers 7th. He'll be followed by the DH Miguel Cabrera. And you want to make Kinsler hit his way on if you possibly can here. No walks in front of the big guy. Payoff pitch. We'll try it again. Kinsler a .305 average this year. We mentioned hitting almost .370 since that first week in July. Keone again ready. And another 3-2. Another foul ball. Rangers 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error this afternoon. The Tigers 2 runs, 8 hits, no errors. Tigers have stranded 8. Rangers have left 6 aboard. Kela back to Kinsler. Hard hit right at Alberto. 1 step to his left, and that hot shot flagged down by Hanser.
Man, that's a big out right there with the big fella coming up next. Got a 1-run lead, and you definitely don't want Cabrera up with anybody on base. 3-2 pitch. The third 3-2 pitch of the at-bat goes with a fastball down and in. That's in Kins' wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was somebody on the other end of that.
No, it took 8 pitches for Keone, but he got the first down. Now here's Cabrera. 0-1. You know, most of the time you can say about a hitter, you want to make sure that he doesn't have a pitch he can hit out of the ballpark. I'm not sure Cabrera has seen that pitch yet. He just doesn't have a glaring weakness.
I think he's got a very, very small cold zone.
Yeah.
Very small. You've got to be, number one, daring, and you've got to be able to execute, because if you miss, he's probably going to do some damage with it. Whether it, it may not hit it out of the ballpark, but it could be a base hit.
Right.
With the way the game is right now, you don't want to have any runners on base.
0-2 pitch. Yeah, most guys you can say, well, if you throw it up and away, for example, they're not going to hit it out of the ballpark. They may get a base hit or something like that. Or if you can throw it up and in. Like, I don't know that Cabrera has any place you can say all the time, if you throw it there, he's not going to hit it hard someplace.
No, I think you're right. I just don't think he has that one spot where you say, hey, if I can get it right there, he can't hit it out of the ballpark.
Boy, Keone trying to drop that hook on the outside corner. Didn't miss by much. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know what I didn't really like about that there is that Cabrera didn't flinch.
Yeah.
That's a really good pitch, good spot, just missed that outside part of the plate. But Cabrera has a very, very good eye and a very good strike zone.
And we'll see what Chris Jimenez and Keone Keller come up with. Went back with a fastball and pretty well located. But Cabrera spoiling it. Cabrera 368 as he stands at the plate. Another multi-hit game today, 2 for 3.
That must be a nice feeling, come to the ballpark and know you're going to get a couple hits every day. Not want to, but think about it. I'm going to get 2 hits today.
Yeah. Laid off the breaking ball. The count has gone full. Second straight hitter now that Keone Kelly has gone to a 3-2 count. Cabrera hits 3rd in the order, followed by Victor Martinez.
See the outfield alignment there. You've got the line of the Shields playing Cabrera at right center field, which I think is a great spot. So he hits the ball in right center field and gets by him. You can kind of keep it from being a triple.
Check swing. He went around for the strikeout. What a huge strikeout. Cabrera saying check with him, and Adam Amari said I did. Ron Copa said you win. Huge strikeout for Kelly.
I don't think he can get much bigger than that. Kelly going with a breaking ball down in the zone. Cabrera in his 2-strike stance, or his 2-strike approach, didn't really pick his leg up for, in stride. Tried to hold up, but he couldn't.
Well, there's the weakness, Mac. If you can get him 3-2, and you have an 88-mile-an-hour curveball that goes straight down out of the strike zone, he can't hit that.
He can't hit it.
No.
That's a good thing he swung at it.
It's got to be in the dirt, though.
Yes. Underneath the plate.
Gee, many Christmas. Oh, 2 gone. You ever feel like a weight was lifted off your shoulders?
Oh, there's no question. Well, I'll say this. It's a little bit lighter now because he's still not out of it.
That's right.
Yeah, he's got to go through a few tough guys still to come here.
And Victor Martinez, base is empty, 2 away. Rangers going to an overshift. Martinez takes ball 1. Elvis moving over 4 or 5 steps on the first base side of second. Andrew Alberto, the third baseman, moving over to midway between second and third. And Rougned Odor out there with the flag, letting everybody know where he is in shallow right field, or medium right field. And he gets a ground ball. Oh, it goes up over his head and hit the back rim of the infield grass. And shot right up over Rougned's head. Now that's one of the hazards you face playing way back there, is that that back rim of the infield not manicured the same way the front rim is.
It's really not. And man, there's just nothing you can do on that. Absolutely nothing you can do on that. When that ball hits that lip, it takes a hop. It just went over his head. He's in perfect position. Going down, I probably would have preferred him not go down to one knee to catch that ground ball, but not sure they would have made a difference. He tried to grab him with his bare hand.
He did.
Right off of his fingertips. That's just a bad break.
No, it goes as a base hit, a bad hop single. 1 on, 2 out. J.D. Martinez now will come up. And this is the guy now you want to make sure that you do not get in his power zone. That would be out over the plate where you can extend those arms down a bit.
Oh, he had one right there.
Kind of right down in there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. I think that was kind of putting it on a tee. You know, the good thing about it is when you make mistakes down the middle of the plate, hitters don't always execute and hit it. So this was one of those instances, thank goodness.
Especially when you're throwing 97. That will make a lot of mistakes a little bit less. But I wouldn't try that too many times in a row.
No.
J.D. Martinez 1 for 3. Had an infield single back in the first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike.
J.D. looks, you know, like his stance, like he's a little bit further off the plate than you see most hitters. And it looks like the outside of that part of the plate is wide open. But he can close it off in a hurry. He's a guy who kind of dives into the plate so he can cover that outside part of the plate.
Good breaking ball there. A ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, that first time you see J.D. Martinez, that's kind of a setup.
Oh, boy, it is.
Saying, I dare you. Go ahead and throw it out there.
Typically, when you see a guy do that, you throw it the opposite. You throw it inside.
Right. Gela got it in there. Pop up down the right side. It's going to go into foul territory and slices out of the reach of Shin-Soo Choo. We will try it again. That was an excellent pitch by Keone Keller.
Very good pitch. He stayed away the first 3 pitches and then goes inside just to let him know that, hey, I can use that part of the plate as well. And now Martinez has no idea where he's going.
Exactly.
Is he going to come inside? Is he going to go outside? Is he going to throw a breaking ball?
We'll see what Chris Jimenez and Keone Keller come up with. Oh, strike 3.
Beautiful pitch.
How about a hammer on the outside corner at the knees?
Not much you can do with that one.
And J.D. Martinez, all he can do is talk to the home plate umpire about it, and that'll do it. Keone Keller gives up a base hit, but that is it. He strands a runner. We're going to the 8th, 3-2 Rangers. It'll be Moreland, Napoli, and Odor, and taking over on the mound now. Big left-hander, Blaine Hardy, another guy at 6'6", out of Seattle, Washington. Hardy, 28-year-old, and he has found himself a home here in the Tiger bullpen last year and this year, as he starts Mitch Moreland off with ball one. Hardy spent a little time at the University of Portland. Runs that fastball inside to Mitch. Foul ball evens the count, and a ball and a strike. And the left-hander back to the plate. Mitch eyeballs that breaking ball. Hardy originally selected by the Kansas City Royals back in the 2008 draft, 22nd round pick. Tigers signed him before the 2013 season, minor league free agent. Made his major league debut in 38 ball games last year. Moreland, the difference in this ball game, Mitch had a 2-run double in the 6th. It's this hard into the shift. Third baseman Castellanos out there in right field throws him out. One gone. We'll take you back and let you look at that Moreland two-bagger. Key because it came off the left-hander Matt Boyd, and the Rangers had not had a whole lot going up to that point. Boyd had kept them in check and finally got a couple on with nobody out. Mitch, being down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes, rifled that off the wall in right for the 2-run double. Gave the Rangers their first lead of the afternoon. Now here's Mike Napoli, who is 1 for 3. Napoli had a single back in the 2nd inning. Season average at .211 for Nap. Hardy with a good off-speed pitch. Alex Wilson, right-hander, getting loose in the Tiger bullpen. And Napoli chopping the next pitch foul. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Sam Dyson, big part of that Ranger bullpen. He is getting ready to, looks like, work the 8th inning. Rangers with both Freeman and Dyson. Or I should say Freeman and Diekman, and then Dyson and Kella. 2 left-handers, 2 right-handers. The tail end of the bullpen, and Napoli drives one to left. That sends Collins back. He's at the wall. Goodbye. Napoli reaching out and driving the ball out of here with his 3rd home run. Make that his 2nd home run as a Ranger. And the Rangers now have a 4-2 lead.
Well, this is exactly why John Daniels went out and got Mike Napoli. Very, very tough on left-handers. Gives you another power bat off the bench when he's not in there against left-handers. Comes up with a big home run right here. You know, Nap's been through it. Won a World Series with the Red Sox. Been in another one with the Rangers. Got a breaking ball out over the plate, a hanger. And Nap knows what to do with those.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Tyler Collins just running out of room, and Mike Napoli gives the Rangers a 2-run cushion. Rougned Odor takes the pitch high and tight. 2 balls and no strikes. So Napoli with his 15th home run of the year overall, his 2nd in a Ranger uniform. He has driven in 3 runs for Texas this year. And Odor really going after that one. It's a sky-high pop-up. Victor Martinez for out number 2. Oh, Rougned 1 for 4 now as he dejectedly heads back to the Ranger dugout.
He is a little upset today.
No, base is empty, 2 away for Ryan Strasburger. Ryan has grounded out twice and struck out this afternoon. That pitch just a little high. Almost got up on the netting. Ooh. Hardy back to the plate and misses low and outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, the Rangers now 4 runs on 7 hits. They have had 2 solo home runs today. 129 home runs for the Rangers this year. And 3-0 to Strasburger. Ryan hitting in the 7th spot will be followed by the Ranger catcher Chris Jimenez. Ball 4. Strasburger aboard with a 4-pitch walk. And Brad Ausmus coming out of the Tigers dugout. He's looking out toward the bullpen and looks like he's going to make the move. He has signaled that he wants some help from the pen coming in. So that's going to do it for Blaine Hardy. Hardy gives up the solo home run to Napoli in the final shot, the 2-out walk to Strasburger. He will leave with Strasburger at first. Rangers leading 4-2. We'll take a timeout for this pitching change. Back right after this. Of course, finishing up here this afternoon in Detroit. Then it's an off day tomorrow. Rangers will enjoy that at home. Then a couple of big series. The Blue Jays coming in Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon. And then the Baltimore Orioles on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that will finish up the home portion of the schedule for the month of August. San Diego, LA, and Seattle on the next road trip. 28-year-old right-hander Alex Wilson, who pitched for a couple of years down at College Station, Texas A&M. On here to work to Chris Jimenez. 1 on and 2 out. Slider misses outside. Wilson in his 47th appearance for the Tigers this year. Very fine 1.80 ERA. Lee just hitting .231 against him. Wilson pitched down at A&M both 2008 and 2009. He was a Boston Red Sox selection in the 2nd round after his senior year down there. Came over to the Tigers in the deal that sent Rick Porcello over to Boston. That was the deal also that Yoenis Cespedes came to Detroit this past offseason. 1-1 the count to Chris Jimenez, who is 2 for 2 today, a single and a home run. He also walked. 2 balls and a strike.
Jimenez has pretty much done everything today that could probably do. Swinging the bat, getting on base 3 times out of 3.
Hasn't had a chance to throw anybody out, but I'm sure he would have done that had he been given the opportunity.
Probably.
Wilson, a little jump throw over to first. Strasburger, of course, very good speed over there. Had 27 stolen bases in 32 chances at AAA this year. Wilson, as you can see, a rather stocky right-hander. He goes 6 feet tall, about 215 pounds. And another toss to first. Chris Jimenez had the leadoff home run in the 3rd inning. That was the first run of the game scored by the Rangers. There goes Strasburger. The pitch is inside. The throw, they got it. From his knees.
Wow.
James McCann fired a bullet to second base, and Strasburger shot down. That'll do it for the Rangers. But Mike Napoli doing a little throwing of his own through this ball right out of the ballpark. His second Ranger home run will go to the bottom of the 8th. It's now 4-2 Rangers.
What is now a 2-run lead at Comerica Park in Detroit. We welcome you back here for the final couple of innings, and we get you ready for the next Rangers game, which is not tomorrow. How about an off day tomorrow so the Rangers get a little breather, a little rest and relaxation at home for a change, and they'll play again on Tuesday against the Toronto Blue Jays, another team that's right in the mix in this hunt for a wild card spot. Derek Holland with his second start since his return from the disabled list. And Jeff Bannister acknowledges before the game, Derek might not be 100% yet, but he sure looked awfully good in his return to the major leagues, his first start since the early part of April when he pitched the last game of the homestand, guys. Let's get it back up to you.
All right, John, yeah, he looked very, very good. And, boy, what a shot in the arm. Reasonably healthy Derek Holland is for the Rangers.
Yeah, he may not be 100% yet, but he was pretty good in that outing.
Yes, he was. Well, Sam Dyson out of the bullpen to take over here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Dyson appearing in his 12th ball game. Saw him in last night's game. Worked an inning and 2/3, a little longer than he had been working. The first pitch to Castellanos is grounded to short. So one good sinker and one ground out. What else is new?
That's a good way to start an inning. One pitch, one out.
Dyson gave up a couple of runs last night, but he gave up 2 infield hits in that 9th inning. 2 choppers. And then Sean Tolleson came on in relief and gave up the home run to Ian Kinsler. first hitter he faced, and that scored the 2 runs. No, the 2 that scored 3 runs. The 2 of them went on Sam's record, but it wasn't as though he were giving hits all over the place and gave up a couple.
Right, it was just a situational thing, 2 runs, and you want to make sure you close the door on this ball club, especially with the middle of that order that was due up.
James McCann takes the sinker low for ball 1. McCann a triple in 3 times to the plate. Scored a run after he tripled in the 4th inning. And Dyson misses high and away. 2 balls, no strikes. The one thing Dyson has not done is walk many people. He has walked a total of 1 in his previous 11 outings. Gets that one in at the knees. It'll be 2-1. Take it back to James McCann's throw to nail Ryan Strasburger. That's pretty good.
That's very good. First of all, he had a tough pitch to catch, a sinker down. Then he throws from his knees, and Strasburger can fly.
Yeah.
And he got him by a pretty good distance. That wasn't even close.
Another chopper out to Elvis. 2 gone. Well, Sam Dyson brings in that turbo sinker, and they're wearing out the area in front of home plate.
I think we can continue on with that 6-3, 6-3, 6-3.
Not bad. Not bad. Folks, while we have a chance here, I'd like to show you the strongest fan photo brought to you by T-Mobile today. Our selection this afternoon has come to us from Dan. Dan, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, Dan Huggins. If you folks would like to submit your photos to maybe be selected, just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan. Your photo might be aired during one of our upcoming broadcasts, the way Dan was this afternoon. Again, all brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile. Now, this is going to be a 5-3 as Andrew Alberto takes it. That is just amazing. 3 ground balls that, well, pretty easy plays. 1, 2, 3, and gone are the Tigers. On to the 9th we go. 4-2 Rangers. Rangers leading by a 4-2 count. Bruce Rondon, the big right-hander, 6'3", about 275 pounds, out of Valencia in Venezuela, is on now his 24th appearance of the year. Rondon, 29 strikeouts in just 19 2/3 innings, so very much an overpowering type pitcher when he's throwing strikes. And he will face Chris Jimenez to start things off for the Rangers here in the ninth. Be Jimenez, Hanser Alberto, and Delino DeShields. Jimenez was left standing at home plate, admiring the work of the catcher, James McCann. McCann threw out Ryan Strasburger to end the 8th inning. Rondon ready, the first pitch of the 9th inning. Jimenez, again, a single, a home run, and a walk. 2 for 2, that average at .294. Rondon back to the plate. That ball hit well to left field. Coming on as the ball sinks a little bit. Here's Collins. That is out number 1. Next will be Hanser Alberto. So Rondon, and we've heard his name a lot for the last 3 years or so with the Tigers. Still just 24, but he really burst onto the scene in 2011 and was kind of slated to be the Tigers' closer of the very near future and had to undergo Tommy John surgery. This young man regularly threw the ball over 100 miles an hour.
He's pretty close to it right now.
Yeah.
Going in there at 98. I'm sure he can dial it up over triple digits when he wants to.
He had Tommy John surgery and missed all of last year. And a pretty good breaking ball that Hanser Alberto got a look at as he was swinging. 0-2. And there's the Ranger closer, Sean Tollison. Rangers up by a 4-2 count. Trying to win this ball game, finish off a 3-out-of-4 series win against the Tigers. James McCann just took that right up in his chest, trying to go out and block the ball. The ball bounded about 4 feet out in front of home plate. And McCann felt he had to block that just in case Hanser Alberto had swung at it. 1-2 pitch now. Got him swinging. Oh, Rondon with a strikeout, 2 away, and Delino to Shields will be next.
You know, when you're throwing 98 miles an hour and you've got a hook like that, man, that's tough on right-handers and left-handers as well. It just doesn't matter. You can only really be looking for one. And I don't really think you want to look for that breaking ball, because that's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for that breaking ball and a fastball gets loose from him, you're going to be in a whole world of problems. One ball, no strikes to Delino. The Shields has grounded out twice, flied out, and struck out. 0 for 4 today. Average at .255 for the Ranger leadoff man. Breeze continuing to drift in from left center field toward home plate. Clouds now thickening up a bit. There's a chance of rain later on in the afternoon and evening here in Detroit, but no threat for this ball game. Rondon with the 2-0 pitch to DeShields. Now 2-1. Boy, you can tell watching Rondon why he would be such an effective closer. He has that easy gas. It's easy at right now. It's easy at 98. It was easy at about 102. Big man, looks like the ball probably looks like it's coming right out of his shoulder.
And it doesn't help that he's got a little bit of Louis T on it and turning his back almost completely to the hitter. So he hides the ball very well. So that 98 is probably looking like 100. And I can't imagine what it looked like when he was regularly throwing 102.
Yeah. It was pretty much a mismatch, apparently, each time he went out there. And a call strike fills the count. Delino, who is headed to first, will stay back in the batter's box. If the Shields is able to extend this inning for the Rangers, Shin-Soo Choo getting loose in that on-deck circle. Rondon staring in for the sign. The big right-hander is ready. And the payoff pitch on the way. He'll come back and try it again as that chopper is wide of the bag at third. Crowd of just over 39,000 on hand at Comerica Park this afternoon. 39,317. They have been on hand to see the Rangers come from behind once again. The Rangers have made a habit of doing that in the last few weeks. Got him swinging. Not much Delano can do about that, or anybody else for that matter. Rondon gets a couple of strikeouts. Rangers gone in order. We go to the bottom of the ninth inning. It's Tollison time. Tommy on his way in with the Rangers leading by 2. At bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCasts, and a lot more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or your tablet. Bottom of the ninth inning, Sean Tollison on now. Tollison, who picked up his 24th save here on Friday night. Came in last night to finish out the ball game. Gave up the home run to Ian Kinsler. Rangers still able to win that ball game. So Tollison, 24 out of 25 in save opportunities. The league hitting just .230 against him. Tollison with 62 strikeouts and 12 walks. Tyler Collins to start things off. Then we'll be back to the top of the order. Rajai Davis and Ian Kinsler. Rangers leading it 4-2. And Collins fouls the first pitch out of play, 0-1. Collins a couple of hits this afternoon, 2 for 3. Both those base hits came against the starter Cole Hamels. Cole in line for his first victory in a Ranger uniform. Rangers last time out with Hamels got their first win in his starts. So today picking it up, turning in maybe the first victory if Sean Tollison can close it out.
I think got to be a big boost of confidence for Cole Hamels right now. And I know he's used to winning, but it's always good to get a win.
2 balls, 1 strike the count to Tyler Collins. Tollison okays the sign, the right-hander with the 2-1 pitch. 3-1. The last thing Sean Tollison wants to do is walk that leadoff man. He knows what kind of problems that can create. Following Collins, the top of the order, Rajai Davis. And a chopper foul fills the count. So, as you would expect, Sean coming back with a strike.
Yeah, Sean's not a guy that's just, going to blow hitters away. He pitched contact, and as long as it's bad contact, you're in pretty good shape.
Right-hander is ready. Payoff pitch on the way. Popped him up. Shallow center. Elvis going out along with Odor. Elvis making the call. Now being called off by DeLino to Shields. And the center fielder taking charge out there and doing it very nicely. Out number 1.
Great job of communication. You saw the 2 middle infielders go out. Rui's about to call for it. He was nowhere near the ball. And here comes the speedster DeLino to Shields from center field to clear everybody out. I don't know what Rui was doing there.
Now, Elvis got on him about that. He drew that imaginary line. He said, look, everything over here is mine. You stay over there where you are. And DeShields said, forget it. I'll take care of it myself.
Nice job. Just like a good outfielder is supposed to do. You infielders get out of the way.
That's right. Now, Rajai Davis now 0 for 4 today. Tollison getting strike 1 to Davis.
Tollison did a good job coming back and getting Tyler Collins, falling behind him 3-1. Got him to pop it up on a 3-2 pitch.
Here's the big breaking ball that Tollison will use primarily against right-handers. He just missed outside. Davis has flied out a couple of times, lined out, and struck out today. 247 the average. You feel a lot better with this guy up there when he's not the tying run. To right field, Chu started back. Now puts the brakes on. 2 gone. Tollison, a couple of fly ball outs. And Ian Kinsler representing the last hope for the Tigers to keep this ball game going. Mentioned Kinsler last night. Got the home run off Sean Tollison in the 9th inning. It was a 3-run blast, but the Rangers still won that ball game 5-3. Ian this afternoon 1 for 4. Had a first inning single and scored. And Tollison trying to make sure that Ian Kinsler is the last man he faces today. Fires strike 1. Look over into that on-deck circle after Kinsler. You know if Kinsler gets aboard, you're going to have to face Miguel Cabrera, and that could spoil your whole afternoon.
That could
have to do that.
No, that's not who you want to face.
Elvis charging, sets and throws, and that is a winner. Sean Tollison with his 25th save in 26 opportunities. The Rangers win 3 out of 4 from the Detroit Tigers here at Comerica Park. And what a job for the Rangers coming in here knowing what they had to do. They were facing the Tigers, who were on their heels as far as the wild card is concerned. The Rangers came in and made a statement. They won the last 3 ball games in very solid, fundamental fashion as